Hello, this is Dr. Jeff. Have you ever had that situation where you assigned a project and you struggled to know where students were at, and then at the end of it, you noticed that many students had struggled on that project, but even though you were walking around and monitoring, you just felt like you didn't have a pulse on the class because at the end of it, more students didn't succeed as you had hoped. So I thought I'd share a strategy to help with progress monitoring to support students to be successful. Hopefully, you've had the opportunity to create a project that's super engaging and you have ideas on what a great project looks like. Maybe you have a student sample or a rubric that students may even have been a part of co-creating with you. And so they were doing that work. So how can you progress monitor? Let's say you have like 30 students in a class, 40 students in a class, 40 different projects going on at once. How do you know where everyone is at? And so I'm going to share a tool that is helpful for me that I use to sometimes check the progress of my students. So let's just say, these are my students, and what I'll have in here are the hyperlinks to their projects. Like I'll have Matthew's projects, Emily's, Sydney's, and so forth, right? All their links will be here. Right now, this is just an empty template. There's no projects in here, but let's just say there were hyperlinks, and all I'd have to do is click on the hyperlink, and then I'd be able to see where they are at. So if they're doing like good, like maybe probably progressing toward a 4 on the rubric or an A, then boom, you can have them like green like this, right? Let's say you see one that's maybe more of a 3 out of 4 on the rubric. Maybe they would be like more of a yellow. And then if they're more of a 2 on the rubric, kind of a red, right? So you're gonna have a mix in a class. You're gonna have some greens. They're progressing to a good score, and not just a score. It's about meeting the expectations and learning objectives as well. And then you're gonna have some who are maybe struggling with this as well. So, anyways, I'm not gonna change the colors for all of them, but you get the idea that there's gonna be some green, some yellow, some reds, and now I can just look very quickly and see who is doing well and who might be struggling using this kind of progress monitoring. And then, of course, let's just say I check up on Sydney later and I realize, oh, wow, she really improved. So, I could change it to yellow and even send like a positive note. But let's say Aaron went down, then I'd be able to change that to red and go, oh, Aaron needs some help. And then I could also ask the entire team one to support Aaron. Hey, do you think you can work together to support Aaron? I noticed that he was kind of here. Then, teachers, there's only one of us and maybe there's like 40 students, right? So how do we maximize the opportunity to support students? Well, we work with other students and peers, right? So now you got all these other folks that can also help Aaron too. Now, I'm not putting the responsibility and burden all on them, just giving them the opportunity, and Aaron to have the opportunity as well. Gives them the chance to also be leaders in the classroom as well. But if the student continues to struggle, then of course I can come in and provide that support. In this scenario, team 2, it seems like, wow, that's a lot of students who are struggling on that. So I might bring them in and we might have small group support. So bringing them in and bringing some small group support, maybe I could see what their questions are and I can give them more feedback immediately. And that feedback happening early is so important because when you give that formative feedback early, it helps toward that summative assessment. This is the one of the ways I progress monitor toward the summative assessment. And of course, each time I'm meeting with the students, whether it's a positive opportunity to connect or an area where I'm sharing, here's an area of growth, it's an opportunity for transcendent thinking, the opportunity to reflect upon your own practices. So as students, through my questions, think about their own practice, it allows them to, think, regulate and improve, right? And then let's say we're to move to module 2 or module 3, module 4. I think they have an idea of now the habit of not even needing a teacher to ask the question, but perhaps they will ask the question of themselves and have built that habit. And even if it didn't happen that year in 8th grade, if you have this practice in place of transcendent thinking, reflection happening over a longer period of time, a number of years, then perhaps this becomes a new way of being, right? Kind of the habit of practice that becomes a part of that student's repertoire when working on various projects, so that when they move on to college and careers, and even careers, right, have projects, they learn how to not have someone else progress monitor them, although, that supervisors do that too. But they also, more importantly, know how to be the managers of themselves.